It really reminds me of my school days. I never came to the class after break on time. All coming back to me. Guys, let's start. Otherwise, we, oh, sorry. Is it on now? Can you hear me? RP is not working. All right. Finally, we can start the final session. And in view of the time, I'm not going to take too much time to start this session. And I will directly invite our speaker, Enrico Biale, from private equity partner from Stirling Square. Enrico is going to talk about the investor outlook and the mood of investors investing in the BioAg companies. Why, how, and what drives them to invest.
So thank you, Roger, for the opportunity to speak today. And hi, everyone. My name is Enrico Biale. I'm a partner at Stirling Square, the international private equity fund that made last year a majority investment in sustainable agro solutions, also known as SAS. Some of you may know it as CODA. It is a Spanish biostimulant producer. And, well, obviously we are very new to the sector, so we spent a lot of time and did a lot of work to get comfortable investing. I'm basically here today to share some of that sort of analysis and research that some of you may know. Hopefully some of that will be new to you. Let me start quickly introducing Stirling Square. We are an international private equity investor. We're very international, 30 investment professionals, 15 different nationalities. We manage more than 3.5 billion, and we have more than 20 years of history. The core of our strategy is to make sort of investment, majority investment in solid and mature companies with proven business models, successful management teams, and ambitious growth plans. We typically partner with families, entrepreneurs, management teams. Actually, 60% of the investments we do are with family-owned companies. And the main role that we have is to basically transform local companies into global leaders. Finally, sustainability. This is a word that everyone is talking about. For us, is a pillar of our investment, responsible investment strategy. And as a result, sort of a sector like biosolutions is a natural sector of investment, which leads me to the next slide. Why do we like the biosolutions sector? Let me start with the clarifications. When I refer to biosolutions, I mean the biostimulants market and the biocontrol market. They together account for roughly $6 billion in size. It was half of that size 5 years ago and is going to be twice as much in 5 years. So as you understand, this is an industry that grows at sort of double-digit rates. As we saw in previous presentations, probably crop protection, biocontrol, I mean, at sort of faster rates, the biostimulants, but both at double-digit rates. The market is supported by strong tailwinds. Obviously, sustainability and a shift towards more sustainable solutions is a big theme. There is an increase in sort of plant-based food demand, a decrease at the same time of arable land per capita, and as we have all seen in Spain, at least in the last few months, I mean, the planet is sort of undergoing extreme weather conditions, and that's expected to continue going forward. This is a market that has proven resilient through various crises. Even if you look sort of 10 or more years back, the market has continued to grow. We have seen it continue to grow during COVID. We are probably now experiencing one of the sort of most serious and volatile markets in years, and our conviction is that the industry as a whole will, come out even stronger. Biosolutions is still a very young sector. It is very fragmented. It's still dominated by a number of sort of small family-owned businesses. This is, by comparison, a immature market that is due to sort of change going forward. If we think about the market shares and relative market shares in this market, the largest player, it is expected to account for about 3 to 4% market share. If we look at, without going too far, if we look at the crop protection market, which is, by the way, a market more than 10 times as big as the biosolutions, the largest player has a 25% market share. So again, the competitive dynamics today sort of allow for this market to still enjoy pretty high margins. And because of all the reasons that I just mentioned, I'm very confident that there will continue to be a lot of appetite and capital invested in the sector. Institutional capital as well, like ours. Now, that's the good thing. Let me also sort of touch upon the challenges that we see ahead in the sector. Well, firstly, sort of large players, both pesticides and fertilizer players, have entered the market, both sort of organically, but a lot through acquisitions. Obviously, they have got plenty of resources, almost infinite resources, huge armies of salespeople scattered around the globe. In addition, we are seeing distributors becoming larger and stronger and gaining potentially bargaining power compared to the smaller biostimulants and biocontrol players. We are seeing certain products, the most basic products, being commoditized. The industry is starting to see the emergence of private label. All this is likely to lead to sort of higher investments in R&D and marketing potentially for sort of companies to differentiate their products. In addition, looking at regulation, again, another topic that was discussed in a previous panel. Obviously, regulation is tightening. This means longer time to market to get new registrations and potentially more costs. This combined to what I mentioned earlier, it is likely to create sort of pressure on margins in the industry. A lot of this, by the way, potentially exacerbated by the recent sort of market turmoil. So what is, in our view, the most sort of significant trend in the industry? It's market consolidation. In this slide, basically, we have summarized how the large multinationals have been expanding through acquisitions. And look, I don't think that necessarily consolidation is a solution, like the slide says, but it's certainly a fact. Yet, there are a number of merits in consolidation. The increase in sort of financial muscle in the companies that are consolidating will help to face increasing R&D, marketing, regulatory expenses, and potentially even to attract more talent, which is another theme in the industry. A lot of sort of consolidation plays are veering towards market internationalization, so expansion, geographical expansion, potentially product, expansion into new products, and we're sort of seeing a lot of vertical integration. Scale also allows both sort of to purchase raw materials at a better price and potentially market those materials, finished products at better conditions. And finally, we see market consolidation as a trend that may help professionalize the industry and potentially help it converge into better practices. So when looking at the sector, we did ask ourselves, how large does a company need to be in order to have sort of strategic value to be relevant in the sector? And how about today? How about in 5 years? How about in 10 years? And while I'm going to spare you the answer, let me tell you this. We're pretty convinced that the average size of, biosolutions, an average biosolution company, 5, 10 years from now, is going to be significantly larger than it is today. In part as a result of sort of the natural organic growth, but most importantly, as a result of, consolidation. This will certainly change the shape of the industry as we know it today, and potentially reduce the relevance of certain players. That today overall, I mean, everyone here is we're all enjoying very good margins, a pretty good sort of market situation, right? But the one of consolidation is very much a natural process. We as investors have observed it in a number of different industries, and we're pretty convinced that this sort of force is in play here as well. So look, getting to the conclusions, it's late. I'll try to be quick. Let me tell you how all the ingredients that I've discussed about have sort of translated into the recipe for SaaS. Let me start by saying that we are, very proud of having had the opportunity to invest in such an exceptional business led by, a great and exceptional management team. We believe that SaaS can become the platform, potentially, an agile platform, that will allow potentially other entrepreneurs, other management teams that have got a similar view of the market, to join forces and unite in order to benefit rather than, suffer from all the market forces that are at play. So, to conclude, a quote from Graciela Bravo that talks about, missing trains. As in summary, we think this is a very dynamic industry that is changing rapidly and in which we see a great opportunity for all of us to make a difference. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Enrico, because what I'm proud of, that we are connecting the dots again. If you look at, even Enrico is mentioning the regulatory hurdles and go-to-market delays. Therefore, the investors see that as something which can slow us down in our speed, which started by John yesterday morning, that we have to change today, not tomorrow. So that means if there are any regulators in this room, and all the other people who are managing regulatory and the industry bodies, we have to all come together to harmonize. Otherwise, this is so true, because that can be a big obstacle for everyone. But on that note, I would rather open the forum for the questions from everyone else, because this is very refreshing what I just heard. I could feel the confidence and the trust in this BioAg segment from Enrico. But if you have any questions, please raise your hands and take your name and ask the question. Yes, please.
Hello, I'm Hans-Peter. You didn't want to say, but I want to press you on what do you think is the average size of a biostim player right now, and what is it going to be in 5 years?
Look, I said I'm not going to say it, and I'm going to keep the secret. But if you do, some maths, you'll see that there's very, very, very few companies in biostimulants, in biosolutions that exceed 50 million revenues. I mean, that tells you about, the type of industry we are in. It's still, a relatively young industry run by families, and that is meant to change. So, without getting too much into the maths, I think that, the industry is going to double in size in 5 years. So take a multiplier that, at your choice, and that's going to be the answer. It's certainly going to be far more than, twice as much as today.
Any other questions? Pam, you have not asked any question today. No, I haven't. Oh. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. One question. Do you believe that somehow the biostimulants, as the biostimulants grow bigger, are going to take a chunk of the market of the biocontrol, or they will both keep the same level? Meaning, if you have healthier, stronger plants, they will be more resistant, and therefore that will allow to less growth in the biocontrol, or will they grow equally?
No, I actually think that, thank you for the question, it is a very good question. I think that the room for growth in biocontrol is so big that, whatever biostimulants will do will just not have an impact. I mean, the story of biocontrol is basically, taking market share from traditional crop protection. And there is so much market to be taken that I wouldn't really worry.
Worried. I just wanted for everyone not to be worried either.
That's a good. Anyone else, please? Okay, Pam, and then.
So do you assume that the smaller companies are going to be the innovators that feed to the larger companies, and that ecosystem is going to work that way?
Look, I think there's various models. There's the classic sort of model that you see in pharmaceuticals, for instance, in other sectors, and is one that will work. I think that, potentially is going to be more difficult to be a tiny generalist in this industry going forward.
Hi, Mundir Yaqub speaking. Within the ag industry, which other sectors you see today are also interesting to investors that are competing with biocontrol and biopesticides for the investors' interest?
But you mean sort of in general, or kind of in the agro space, in the agricultural space?
Within the agricultural space,
sorry.
but in the whole thing, farming, vertical farming, and various agricultural food production space.
Look, there's sort of a number of interesting industries, right? I think I would say that there is no such market. There is no market of the size of biostimulants and biocontrol that I think is as attractive as others may be. But you'll see sort of private equity and institutional investors invest across the cycle, even sort of in traditional crop protection, in fertilization. I mean, for us is less interesting because of the competitive dynamics that I just mentioned, of the potential growth rates. That doesn't mean that you can't do something good there.
John, you had a question also, but you and I also discussed about some of the comments came that displacement or just taking one segment to another segment is not the answer. How investors see that? That question you want to ask now?
I'm quite new to this kind of business community, and it's been interesting for me.
It's the two of us then.
Pardon?
It's two of us.
Now it's
I'm quite new as well.
Okay, great. So I'm interested in the sense that the approach, as it's come across, and maybe I've just not picked it up properly, is very much. Well, actually, one of the other speakers mentioned it. There's one in conventional agriculture business, one solution for every problem, and it's additive, right? Whereas the potential of biological approaches are they're multiplicative. In other words, they add value to each other, and you can have fewer solutions for a whole, to create a whole solution to a farmer with fewer inputs. But the industry seems very fragmented, and I'm guessing that the example that you showed with SAS was attractive because they have almost got an integrated solution package. Do you think that integration of solutions is consolidation of solutions, if you like, is something that's needed to accelerate the growth in this space, which is coming back to the question I really wanted to ask, which is what are the factors that are limiting growth, and how could we accelerate growth?
Okay, so that's thanks for the question or questions. The first one, as I understand, this industry has been talking about solutions for years. SAS, which stands for sustainable agro solutions, has got that solutions world, and it was crafted by our leading CEO, I think like 15 years ago. So the whole concept of solutions is not sort of new. I think it was new when SAS sort of came about it, but is where the industry has been sort of going towards. Now, if we sort of put together yours and Pam's question, well, if we think of sort of an industry evolving towards very small and focused specialists that are sort of innovating, and then larger players potentially providing solutions, that's where things may be going. Sorry, and the second question, remind me.
Sorry. If it's not that, what is the limit to growth in this space?
Okay, limit to growth in the space. I think for what I see, I think there is, no limit to growth. What I guess people are experiencing, but I am an investor, so, there's probably people here in the room that live that, on a daily basis, is like in crop protection. Again, you're trying to eat market share from in biosolutions, in biocontrol, you're trying to eat market share from crop protection players. And, these guys are big guys with lots of power, lots of resources. So, there's sort of a competitive dynamics that, are limiting the growth. As we heard earlier from, the growers' perspective, obviously these guys are very interested in switching, towards more sustainable solutions. That's an inevitable trend, but, there's competitive forces at play that need to be handled.
My perception is that there is a small subset of farmers that are ready for this, but a huge raft of farmers that are up to their ears in debt and struggle. And in fact, in the work we've done across Europe, very, very few of them are aware of the potential of this kind of technology. They haven't even thought about it.
I think it needs to come from consumers ultimately. I mean, if supermarkets just start saying, I just want products that have got these characteristics, and in Europe we're seeing that, then, inevitably farmers will be obliged to and regulators as a result will be. So, look, I don't know where this is going to be, but there's certainly limitations that need to be dealt with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If there are no more questions, Enrico, this has been very refreshing, and I think it was good change from what we have been discussing since the morning. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Roger, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Pam. I also want to talk about one particular fact which no one can ignore, that even though BioAg is picking up, but we really have to look at how many real companies which are coming new are successful. And that's the real challenge. If they are successful, as Pam and I discuss all the time, up to 10 million, and then something happens and it stays to the 10, 15 million. So today, on purpose, I have chosen 7 CEOs who have shown the success in this area. That's why I chose those people. And to start with, there is no one a better example of success than Giuseppe Natale. He doesn't need any introduction. All of us know that. So Giuseppe, are you there with us?
Yes. Good afternoon to everyone. Hello. Hi.
Please raise the volume for Giuseppe. So Giuseppe couldn't make it here today because of some family arrangements which he could not organize. But as you know, Giuseppe's dedication, he still said that I'm going to be there through the Zoom. So here, Giuseppe. Can you hear us now, Giuseppe?
Yeah, very well.
Thank you so much. And as you know, for all of us, Giuseppe has been a role model for a long time. But then I have my second guest, who once was controlling almost 35 to 40% of FMC revenue global. And then he took the retirement, and he created history by jumping into the bio, getting fully baptized into bio, and created Biotrop in Brazil, which has more than 40 million turnover in 3 years. So that's what I call success. Antonio, please. Yes. Then I have Thomas, who just gave me at around 11:30 last night the news that he just crossed a 500 million barrier, which was his target for the end of the year. And he crossed it already. So Thomas, please. I talk about young, successful entrepreneurial CEOs, and you cannot miss Carlos Ledó. So Carlos, please. I don't know if Alejandro wants to be called young or not, but Alejandro, you're very young at heart, please. Alejandro from Kimitec. Then here I have another convert, Arturo from Probelte, who did not know what the spelling of bio is 3 years ago, and today he's one of the successful Probelte CEOs. And talk about lifelong dedication and commitment and success, you cannot ignore Pedro Peleato. So as you can see, the reason we chose or invited or requested these CEOs to be on this panel to almost close this beautiful event, I hope you liked it, to give us the guidance as to where the industry is going, why they are successful, and how they can guide all of us with their success stories going forward. So on that note, I will start with Giuseppe, who we all know about his success, to share with us some success mantras. Giuseppe, over to you.
Thanks, Roger. Very disappointed with myself not being there with you, and I take the chance to give my best regards to all the friends that is there with you. I will take the risk, like I normally did in the life, of being a bit naive on my speech. Let me share the video and see if this works. I hope you can see my screen.
Yep.
And yeah, why I take the risk being a bit naive on what I will say, because I will talk little about the business and I will talk a bit more generic on what we're working on my experience. And I started with this picture in the early 1980 and what took to become what you can see there. And I would like to say that I made a big use of imagination. And I think that it's the most powerful tools that we have as a human being. And take a bit of courage in order to try to fight, to make real what you dream and what you imagine. And on my case, it was not, to be honest, being brave or having courage. It was simply not knowing what I was approaching, because when I started the company, I was 20 years old and I was plenty of dream. And really not aware of what could have been the difficulties to grow the business from scratch. As you can imagine, resilience, it's the other key words. And I can tell you that in 1983, the end of 1983, I still remember where we were together with my partner. We were in the car and we were deciding if we can continue or not the company, because at the time, there was no venture capital. It was a word that it was not known where I came, middle of nowhere, small village in Abruzzo. and there was no private equity investing in idea or some project. So we were spending the money of our family, and after 3 years losing money, it was an hard time, and we decided not to give up. And in 1984, the year after the company we achieved the break-even point, and since that time we continue to grow and in a profitable manner. So if I can give another recommendation, it's not only to imagine, to dream, but don't give up if you feel and you consider that you have a good idea. A way to represent an entrepreneur for me is a foot on the ground and head on the cloud. Foot on the ground is needed. You need to be very pragmatic. You need to be very consistent. But at the same time, you need to keep the ability to look forward. And on the introduction that Enrico made, I normally try to look with my role, what next, what will happen in 5-10 years, what it will happen to my company. And I think that this is an important exercise. We normally get down on the operational activity, on the many things that we have to do, and we sometimes miss this opportunity to connect the future, being very, very pragmatic. If I don't like to talk too much about the past, because this gives the sense that I'm old enough. So I normally like to spend time looking to the future. And unfortunately, when we see the world, it seems that we are looking for almost a kind of perfect storm. The overall situation, it's quite dramatic. And I think that in our role, in our activity to provide enough food for the planet, the things change quite significantly in the last decades. From just the imperative of having enough food, today what the market, what the society asks to us, it's to have, of course, enough food, but also healthy food for healthy people living on an healthy planet. So sustainability becomes a fundamental pieces of the activity that on what we do. We know that we are part of the problem. We are responsible for 25% of gas emission, but agriculture could be also part of the solution. But one missing point when we talk about agriculture is at the end, who pay for that? And here, what my team made, trying to summarize the thoughts that I have, is from monetizing the yield to monetizing the field. So farmer, grower not being paid anymore for what they produce, but also how they produce. This to me, it's a fundamental shift that we need to accept, we need to embrace. And if farmer, grower will not be paid for that, I would like to say it will remain a dream that all becomes agriculture, and that all becomes sustainable. On that, we have a good ally, that it's the technology. I think that precision ag all the tools, the digital tools that it's available today will be fundamentally important in order to make this achievement, but in order also that the farmer are paid on how they produce, we need to move forward also on other enabling technology, for example, blockchain. I think that all the value chain from farm to fork, it's fundamentally important that are monitored and are well traced. This is what I see there. And then last few sentences, because I would like to have more time as much as possible to interact with people. What my takeaway after 42 years of leading a biological company, two main things for me are the most important thoughts that I would like to share with you. One is the value creation, and the other one is about people. On the value creation, I think that the easy answer for the reason to exist for company is create value for shareholder. I have to say that unfortunately it's not the case. If we want really to make an impact, the focus has to be on the value creation for customers. I learned this lesson quite early, and I have to say thanks to my father. He was not educated. He didn't came from Harvard. He was working on the field, and when he became young with some independence, he opened a distribution for agrochemicals. So it's where my roots came. And he told me all the time, make sure that your customers are happy, give value to them, and money will follow. And this was so true and so important that became really kind of mantra for me and for my team. About sustainability, I have to say that I think that Enrico also mentioned today, it's a bit abused in terms of concept, but I think that the people are also able to detect if it's greenwash or if it's really on the DNA of the company or what you offer. And what I learned is that it's really came together. What is right for the planet, it's also right for the business. I have to say that came through all the time in my case. Last, about people. If today someone asked me what to do in order to build a successful company, I have no doubts to say pick people that fit with you, that you respect, and then decide together what to do. It's even less important than the mission, the scope of the company. People are all, and I learned that taking care of your people and then your people take care about your business. It was really so simple the day that I started to focus to be less involved on the daily operation, but just simply taking care, making sure that the team had what they need to be successful and work for them. I think that this was really an important shift on my professional career. And if you allow me, last, create a purpose for people, but has to be real. Don't lie or don't just try to look well. I think that people will detect. People follows idea, don't follow other people. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you so much, Giuseppe. What we will do to help you, Giuseppe, that I will request all the CEO panel folks to go with their slides so they can share their vision, and then Giuseppe will take over from there and have a Q&A with all the CEOs, as well as I will help with the audience Q&A. So, Antonio.
I mean, the next. Thank you, Roger. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you for the invitation, for this marvelous opportunity. Also to congratulate you with the biolinkage. You are really putting people together, make us be more inspired, and we needed to take the role that is ahead for us. We're going to be leading, we are going to be a leading industry. The growth on the biologicals, biostimulant, and natural products is going to be phenomenal, and we need to be prepared for that. So I really want to share a little bit of our experience with you and see how we start and how we move. Okay, we move from here, right?
Yes, yeah.
Here. So let me present my first slide to you as we move. Opa. It's coming there. Okay, so I started my career working for a Brazilian agricultural program from the government, Embrapa. I was an entomologist and a nematologist. I worked there for 3 years, and then I started a very, very long and I think successful career with FMC. Was 38 and a half years, and then finally, with 65 years old, I retired, and I become linked to a private equity fund, the Aqua Capital, that just invests on the agricultural side of the business, particularly in Brazil, and now going to the Americas. And then after being there as a board member and counseling, we decided together to found Biotrop as a new venture from Greenfield, and then we started the company, okay? So why I come up with these ideas? Well, first of all, I have the privilege to be a grape grower and also soybean farmer, okay? Obviously, I have my professional side at the FMC, but with a professional team in the field, we developed a successful farming in Brazil, and I was feeling the pain of being a grower, using more and more pesticide, more and more fertilizer, resistance, some low performance, mixing initially 1 product, 2 product, 3 product, 5 product in one application. And then I started to see, well, we need to do something with this. So that was the initial experience, really feeling the pain as a grower. And on my previous company, we have a very successful case with Dipel, with Bacillus thuringiensis, who at one moment was a foul armyworm, big infestation in Brazil. We have been growing this Dipel sales. We reached more than 5 million liters by that time. And I said, wow, the biologicals really work. It's better to pay attention. And then we start to developing a nematicide. Okay, thank you. And we start to develop a nematicide, a biological nematicide that just became very successful after I left. I come up until the moment of the registration, and then I left, okay? So what really helped me to build up the principles is the passion. I think I have a passion for everything that I do. Okay, when I was a research doing with nematodes, I have a very strong passion for nematodes, and then for the chemical industry, and then this come up to biologicals. People, you need good people, you need to have a relationship, you need to have a network. Nobody is successful alone. You need to get inspiration from people, you need to learn from each other. So that's why this event here is very important. Okay, and you need to fight against the status quo. It's very comfortable, it's very, sometimes even pleasant to be, well, let's go with the wave. Okay, so you need to fight against what is established, and create new roles, create new space, and be innovative. Innovate in everything that you do. Okay, from the simple to the complex. And be a believer. Be a believer in what you are doing, okay? Stand by your principles. Stand by your company. Stand by your products. So at the Biotrop, that's we call ourselves already, in spite of being just a very young company, this month we completed 4 years, and we spent almost a year on paperwork to establish the company. Bureaucracy in Brazil is not easy, but we are becoming very innovative and sustainable in biological solutions, and we are expanding ourselves to the entire Americas. Okay, our plan is to be growing and reach 1 billion reais. That is going to be close to $200 million by 24. Yeah, not 25, 24. Okay, we finished last year close to $40 million, and this year we're going to close around $80 million. Okay, obviously, I think we're doing well. I think we have a very good product, great scientists behind us, a large employee, a large investment organization, but quite frankly, several people talking here about the tailwind. The tailwind on this segment is everywhere, but it's particular in Brazil. The Brazilian market, just to give you an idea, is growing around the 45%, as the market research company are saying, but I think they are not capturing everything. It's more in the 60. So we have the obligation to be almost in the 3-digit growth. Okay, sounds a little bit cocky, but the market is helping. The adoption of the Brazilian growers is incredible. They are really enjoying the performance of the biologicals. And remember, if you work with a chemical, and I did that for almost 40 years, you have 1 or 2 modes of action. The biologicals, you have at least 6 different modes of actions. And that gives you very good consistency to your product. So my recommendation is stand up by your product, believe in your product, and let's not be shy. Let's promote, let's make the biologicals taking the space that is deserves. Obviously, you need to have quality, you need to have a shelf life, your product needs to be well positioned, you need to have a service in the field. That's why you have a very large organization. But you obviously, as a biological company, you need to see your technology, your innovation, you need to see your revenue, but remember, never lose the sight of your bottom line. We need to be a profitable company. We need to demonstrate to our shareholders, to our investors, that we can do a very profitable business in this situation. So that's the balance between growing and invest. That's what I like to do, but always keep an eye on the bottom line, okay? So this just to show you our growth, and we want to accelerate. This is in reais, sorry, but this year we're going to end up the year around 400 million reais. So that is equivalent to $80 million, okay? So with this kind of growth, can you guess what is our major challenge now? If you asked me a year ago, the major challenge, I would say people, talent to the organization. But right now, our major challenge is capacity. Okay, we didn't expect it to grow so fast. We are very aggressive. I was very aggressive, but we missed the boat, and the demand is growing very, very, very fast. So right now we're running like crazy to debottleneck our plant and to have the second plant, and even we are in acquisition process to acquire a company in Brazil that's going to essentially bring to us capacity. Okay, Roger, keep myself on time. Okay. There is another one, I guess. Am I missing the slide? Oh, you have it. Okay. So I think here there is a Roger asked to put some pictures, so I just put that. But now it's too late. I moved too fast. It's coming back.
Press it, they will fix it.
Okay. I'm very anxious. You can see it. Okay. I think I was born with 7 months. That's the reason. Otherwise, we go ahead.
No, they are fixing it.
Okay. So Roger asked me to put some pictures of it, being field, being in action. This is just ego cultivation, I guess. But you know, we have been doing the Brazilian agribusiness is very dynamic. The Brazilian growers are very innovative. They like to innovate. Maybe that differentiates from other countries. As I said, if you try to make an appointment as a grower, a large grower today in Brazil, if you're a fertilizer company, if you're a pesticide company, or a seed company, you may have to wait online. But if you say that you are in the biological company, they will be gradually accepting the meeting with you. But they are going to ask you a lot of questions, so be prepared. If you go in Brazil right now to sell glyphosate, they will ask 3 questions. Can you really deliver? What's the price? What are the terms? If you go there to sell a biological, then be prepared. So you need to have a good team. You need to train your team and go ahead. Okay? So the next one is going to talk that we are in this very fancy, trendy bio momentum. Okay? Very, very different from what Penn and Giuseppe faced years ago. So that's why I admire Giuseppe and admire Penn, because they are in a momentum that was not very easy to the pioneer in the biological. So now, as I say, the tailwind is really helping us. And it's fancy, but also we have some challenges to overcome. And, you know, we needed to be inspired. This BioAg industry is fantastic. The chemical dominance that we have, the grower resistance of the chemicals, as I said, all the need for more sustainable, healthy food production, and that is making the bio industry as a great momentum. So that's leading us to big opportunities. Okay, let's not be shy, as I said. There is a lot of change in agricultural practices. The growers are very receptive. The improvement in the supply chain, the customers' demand, you know, if you're a grape producer and you export the grapes to Europe, they are going to limit the amount of chemicals that you can use in grapes, particularly in Brazil, cannot use more than 5 different actives. You needed to prove that you have a good practice. You needed to have all the regulations, okay? And the chemical industry is essentially exhausted. They are not bringing anything new, resistance, higher dosages. But also the biologicals, all the trendy, has a lot of change. So we're seeing more the first generation of products. Okay, and you need to be investing in R&D to have a more powerful products to go side by side with fertilizers, side by side with the chemicals, even better. So you need to invest in R&D to create the next generation. You say you can have the actual generation that majority is selling. You can do that product better. You need to have a cost, low cost to be very competitive and profitable. You need to have the best regulatory capability. You need to invest on those people. We are hiring a new regulatory person almost every month. It's necessary. You need to have strong, creative people, very well prepared. It's a very capital-intensive industry, particularly in Brazil. In Brazil, I mean, the industry is using, everybody gives 8 to 9 months. So to compete, you need to have this big accounts receivable. As I said, it's profitable, it's growing, but it demands a lot of capital. And you needed to have a constant innovation to create, and obviously we're facing competition. Almost every week a new company comes. My own people accuse me that everybody that I give a public speech in Brazil, I stimulate somebody to come into this market and become a competitor, so they try to push my ears all the time. So this is the point that we are facing in majority of the Brazilian market. is very dynamic, and we are expanding ourselves to other markets. We are in Paraguay, in Argentina. Those countries are not facing the same growth rate that we face in Brazil, but they are started to take off. So very soon we are going to see in entire Latin America, I hope in entire Americas, a very strong growth. So the leadership role and what I should recommend to the new CEOs, let me see if I can. It's not easy to be recommended because everybody has their own experience. But what I try to do is always to be inspirational, to give inspiration to the team. You know, don't talk about the difficulties, don't talk about barriers, talk about what you are going to do and how you are going to do. Have a passion, accept the challenge, and driven for results. We need results. Nobody survives without having results. And be fun. Okay, I make fun of myself, I play with people, I joke around, but let's work hard. Let's make things happen. Okay, so all those things are going to make you successful. Never accept the status quo, the low performance, the low performers, what we call fat cats in your organization. They can destroy you. The analyticals, too much analysis, and then you become in paralysis by analysis. Or if you have people that is just seeing problems, not seeing solutions. So surround you. Particularly my age, I need to be surrounded by brilliant young people. So that is good to have those people, to have their passion and make them really committed to the business. Be passionate for what you are doing. Believe in biologicals. You need to believe it. It's not easy sometimes to change the mentality of somebody that's in the chemical industry to become a real strong person on biologicals. Okay, and as I said, surround you by the best-in-class people. People is going to make a difference. It's going to make you successful. It's going to make your customers happy. It's going to make your product grow, and it's going to bring you profitability. And build the bridges, build the relationships, okay? Relationship in this business is very important. As I said, nobody is successful alone. So you need to have people, you need to cooperate. I really learned on my, early in my career, I learned that we needed to cooperate and compete, okay? Obviously, we live to love our customers and to compete in the marketplace, but also there is company that you can build up alliances. So we are open for alliances, we are open to exchange product, technology, and continue to grow on this market. Okay? That's it. Thank you so much.
Giuseppe, do you have any comments?
Well, let me say that Antonio is all the time so strong on his passion that really let me consider that there is a reason for his success, not of course only on his today career, but also on his previous career. So thanks, Antonio. I have a question, if you allow me, because you are talking about the big opportunity in Brazil. And when we think about Brazil, row crop for sure came on top of mind. And historically, there was all the time a bit of reluctancy for farmer in row crop adopting biological. Any comments or any view on what is changing, what is your experience there, without not revealing any secret, just for not getting penalized from your team?
Okay, sure, Giuseppe. Thank you. Thank you for the question. If my data is correct, the world is growing 12% on biologicals, mainly driven by organic crops and the fruits and vegetables. Okay, Brazil, as I said, 45%, probably more than this, and essentially driven by soybean, sugarcane, corn, cotton, citrus, coffee. So we're going very, very fast to these row crops. Obviously, Brazil is closer to 40 million hectares of soybean. Majority is already inoculated with Rhizobium and Azospirillum. So the Brazilians farmers are used to the biologicals, and they're adopting. But we still scratching the market. We are calculating that the Brazilian market now is around 800 million on all the biological biostimulants and inoculants, $800 million, what's compared to $13 billion pesticide business. But in 80 years, the biologicals will be crossing the line and being bigger than the pesticide. So the growers are very anxious. They are testing in small scale and moving. Sugarcane is very typical. You do 10 hectares, 100, 1,000, and then you go to 200, 300 in a sugar mill, okay? So the curve of adoption is just to start to accelerate. You're just scratching the market by now, okay?
Thanks. If I may, another question for you in terms of, you give your view on what make successful the biological company, but maybe can you elaborate a bit more also on what not to do, on your experience, and considering that you came from the conventional chemical, so maybe sharing some perspective not only on the successful recipe but also maybe mistake to be avoided.
Well, first of all, you needed to really believe in all the technologies. Be open, okay? I have some technologies that initially I was, with my bias, kind of resist, and my people was coming and say, yes, it could work, why you don't try, let's do it, let's do. And when you go to the field and you have a good formulation with shelf life, it works. So, you know, even myself, obviously I was coming from the chemical industry and I have my bias. I needed to exercise myself from a lot of things and start to be a big believer. So even on my grapes today, we are using almost 60% of all the inputs are biologicals, and I wish one of those days is going to be 100%. So believe, be open, don't filter yourself, believe in your people, let them, and even if you made a mistake, okay, and don't be afraid of using biologicals. It's not a chemical. If you're using a new herbicide, that could accumulate in the soil, and 5 years after continuous use, it could kill the plant. If you're using a pesticide that eventually can be mishandled and go to a water stream, and that could be a problem. What would be a biological problem if you make a mistake? Eventually, it's not going to work as the growers need, but try it. And be very firm on your statement. Stand by your product. Be assertive, and then move the market. Make things happen.
Thanks, Antonio. Thanks for your energy and your big passion.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Back to you, Roger.
But on the other note, the most important thing what Antonio shared, in my opinion, and Giuseppe also mentions all the time, Luca, you are there, Luca, you know that, being competitor and cooperator at the same time, being colleagues at the same time. If we are just competing, then it's harmful for the industry, for our segment. So that's very important for me. There are so many beautiful ideas you gave, but I picked only that because of the time. that cooperate and compete at the same time as friends, not as enemies. Don't you agree, Giuseppe?
Absolutely. You know that our biggest enemy is the non-use. So let's grow the cake together. I think that it's much more worth and of course there is a lot of opportunity for all of us.
Thank you so much. Now, we heard about 50% growth in Brazil, so I thought I will plug in one thing for your information before anyone leaves. That's why we are taking BioAg World Congress to Rio, Brazil next year, 2nd May to 5th of May, 2023. So please send your applications and interest as soon as possible. We got already 15 people confirming that they want to come. So I just want to let you know that Brazil is our next destination for that reason. Not because I like Antonio, that's not the only reason. So I just want to let you know. On that note, let's move on to our next very successful CEO who comes from totally different background. And now he will tell you the story how he converted himself and the business and achieved this feat which he is going to talk about. Thank you so much, Thomas.
Thank you for the introduction, Roger. The first thing is, I think we as a team, as COMPO expert, are successful. And this is why our claim is that we are the experts for growth. Yeah? So everything you see here, this is a teamwork by all of the COMPO expert people. And what I have prepared a little bit for you is a quick information COMPO expert at a glance, because not everybody knows about COMPO expert. So in a summary, we have now achieved sales of, we call it last 12 months, of 500 million euro. And we are proud of this. And what Antonio said is a little bit what I can underline. Yeah? Our Brazilian entity is continuously over-delivering by the factor 2. And I mean, I don't know if this was sandbagging in the budget procedure or what it was, but the results are there, which is extremely nice. Yeah? So we are happy. We are a company of about 700 employees, so this is medium size. Yeah? And we still have a family spirit there. And then we have production in 5 locations, basically in Krefeld in Germany, because our roots are German. You know, the origin is from BASF. Then we have a plant here, very close to Valencia in Val di Chaux, another one in Patras in Greece, and another one in Dainze, which is Belgium. Then what we are having is we have around the world 21 stabilization units, and this is of course for granular NPK, and we have more than 100 brands. So you see this is far too much. Here we need to reduce it a little bit and concentrate on the essentials. We have more than 5,000 customers, and we are actually, this number is wrong because we are growing so fast. We had in 21 countries, entities, we have now a 22nd one because we have opened a new entity in Peru. And we are selling in more than 100 countries throughout the world. So you see there is a kind of complexity in our business. And what was interesting, here I need to thank all the people from COMPO Expert and of course our customers and suppliers. We managed in 5 years to quadruple our EBITDA. And how have we done this? So I wrote down a few bullet points for you here. At first, we set up a vision and a mission statement because this was really needed, because when I joined COMPO Expert, they were just about starting the second circle with a second private equity company, because then you are a bit worn out and a little bit stressed and you need a new orientation. And so we did this all together and put this then into operation. And then we have put in place a very clear strategy and supported by a value creation plan. I've heard this from you as well, Antonio, so you see there are some overlaps. Yeah? So you need to be clear what you want to do and how you want to do it. And here again, I relied on the people from COMPO Expert because I'm a chemical engineer and an economist, and I had no clue from agriculture before. And then what we have done is we made a massive change. In the past, COMPO Expert has sold granular NPK, liquid NPKs, and something like this. And this was something we felt not focused enough. And then we developed a actually crop approach, which means focusing on crop solution. And not only one fertilizer, but from the beginning to the end, offering a complete nutrition program. And this was, I would say, the start of the transformation of the company, because people had to work different, and this has also changed the momentum in our company. And then what we did is we had this geographical expansion. And as I've just told you, we are now in Peru. Next year we will have another entity in Thailand, then we will have one in Romania, and then Colombia will follow. So we have a very, very clear roadmap, and these are all countries where you have the so-called cash crops for us. Yeah? So we are a company now which is no longer focusing on granular NPKs. We are a company focusing, I would say, on fertigation and foliar products and biostimulants. And this is something, as you can imagine, this made a huge change in the entire company. And the other thing is what we have done, we asked 220 customers, yeah, what they think about COMPO expert in comparison to our competitors. Yeah? And what they said, oh, you are extremely good in quality. No, it's not too bad. You are one of the very best in service. You're always the most expensive, and this is why we are sometimes pissed off, because you are so expensive. But they called it service ratio, and they mean how reliable our deliveries are coming to the customers. We were really not good. But the good thing here was the others were not good as well. And in the meantime, what we have done, we implemented an indicator called OTIF, on time in full, and we have optimized this one by 25 percentage points, whilst reducing our trade working capital. So this means this was something which has helped us a lot, and our customer are appreciating this, because now they get what they order, and normally they get it on time. This was also a big, big move, which was not the case before. And the other thing is, this was extremely important during the COVID times, and also now when raw material prices are rising. You need to have a very agile and forward-looking pricing model. Yeah? And this is now what we have perfectionized, because here you can do a lot of big mistakes when raw material prices are skyrocketing and you miss the point, yeah, of increasing the prices, and then you're falling down the cliff. So this is something what we are mastering very well. And then what we have done is we have taken a lot of SKUs, these are stock keeping units, out of our program, because they were complexity drivers and have reduced our capability to produce the products where we could deliver higher value to the customers. And what we see here, COMPO Expert, for me, it's now an innovative, yeah, sales-driven organization. And in the past, we were a production-oriented organization. So this is a big, big change, what we have done here. And when we are now looking a little bit forward, I want to share with you what our new vision is. A lot of words have been mentioned here by everybody, but by 2025, yeah, we want to become globally the most performant specialty fertilizer company, and this is for us in terms of growth while supporting sustainability, because we believe for us sustainability is something extremely important, and this is a point we have in our decision matrix. When we make decision which products we want to bring to the market, we know our CO2 footprint, we have a clear plan how to reduce it, and we are really focusing on this. And what we also want to do is we want to optimize further our operational excellence, which is now the OTIF and the production. And we are very now engaged in the digital transformation. Yeah, we do a lot of digital things. Panos has also raised something in the morning, what we are doing in this area, and this is a big, big focus. And of course, we want to stay a company which is extremely close to the customers, and we want to help our customers, which are at the end all the farmers. And what are the strategic pillars we are focusing on. This is supply chain excellence, because we believe this is really important. Then the geographical footprint expansion. I have just mentioned by 2025, in total, we will have then no longer 21 entities, we will have 26. And then a big focus is biostimulants. Yeah? And what I can share with you here in our, we call it pipeline for new product development, out of 20 products, 7 are new biostimulants, which will come on the market very soon. And we focus on organic farming, which has been mentioned very often. So I'm happy that it is also confirmed by all of you that we are right in this direction. And the digital transformation, this is also key for us. And we are really fully energized as a company to do this. And what I want to share is a little bit for biostimulants, because this was one strategic point. I want to share with you the strategy and have summarized it to the essentials, which are here in actually 4 points. Yeah? What you can say, we had or we have a sound product portfolio in place, delivering growth rates on market level. So this is nothing special. Then what we have is, after our strategy, we have now the ambition for 2025. It is defined, and we want to double our biostimulant business from 2021 to 2025. And when I'm looking to what we have achieved already, maybe here this target was also not challenging enough. But at the moment, we found it challenging at the beginning. And the focus areas we have really specified. And we will strengthen our product portfolio with 7 new products very soon. And what we can say is the action plan to become the locomotive of growth is in place, and all our priorities are set. And we are extremely confident that we will achieve it. And what I wanted to share with you on such a journey, you discover some do's and some other things you should better not do. And this is a little bit what I'm sharing with you, my experience curve, I would say this. Yeah? And the first is what you really should consider, yeah, to create a winning company culture and live up to this culture. And here we have defined in our company really 8 principles, which is our DNA, and we are really living this up within COMPO Expert. And then the other thing is, when you have a vision, an idea, share your vision, yeah, regularly. Here we are doing town hall meetings. We are doing it now in a virtual form, and then people can really ask questions to it. They get all the information, and this is very lively, and we get a lot of feedback and new ideas from this meeting. And what we have done is we've set up a kind of, we call it always performance-driven organization. And here we have actually applied a principle. We call it 5P. This means proper preparation prevents poor performance. This means before you start something, think about it, bring it on paper. If you start something and during the journey you find all kinds of mistakes, yeah, then this is no longer a really efficient process. And this has helped a lot. Yeah? And then be as close as possible to the market and stay really focused on the thing which really matters. And then there's something, this is, I would say, maybe a leftover from my private equity background. We have one saying, and this is really where you could ask everybody from COMPO Expert here. They can tell you that we are living this. This is follow the approach. Sales is vanity, margin is sanity, and cash is king. And I think Antonio will underline it, especially for Brazil. You can probably sell even more, but you will sometimes not get your money on time. And these are the things we need to focus. And we found this was making us successful. And then there were other things where we trapped into something which we could avoid it. And I want to share this with you as well. And what you should avoid is being trapped in micromanagement. Yeah? And forget the big picture. You always need to have the big picture and don't get trapped in micromanagement. losing sight and strict follow-up of priorities in turbulent times. We found this is extremely important because otherwise you are moving away from your targets. And then reassessing decision and doing second guessing all the time, yeah? This is a time thief, yeah? And we said decide, yeah, and stick to it and do it. This is very important for us, yeah? And the other thing is listening to people which are conceptually stuck in the past, yeah? And are questioning change. This is a waste of time. Yeah, this is a complete waste of time. This is what we found out. And then overloading the organization in difficult times with too many tasks is also not too good. Focus on the right things. Yeah? And the other thing is acting prudent, frenetic in challenging times, or being too passive. This is also things you should avoid. Yeah? And one thing which is also in the DNA of COMPO experts, this is walking the talk consequently, implement the value creation measures, also in challenging times, and we thought that this is one key of success. And this is basically all I wanted to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Folks, I guarantee you that Antonio and Thomas did not share their slides, but look at the similarities, a lot of similarity. So the message is very consistent if you look at it. Before I bring Giuseppe again for his comments and questions, one housekeeping announcement, guys. There was some confusion about the gala dinner. The gala dinner is next door where we had our cocktail every day and lunches every day and breaks every day. So don't get confused. There was some little confusion that it's in some hotel. No, it's same place and it's almost ready for you. Once we are a little bit enlightened with this wisdom, then we'll go and directly into our party mood, okay? Just housekeeping. Giuseppe, over to you. You are missing out on the party, but let's go for some questions.
Yeah, thanks. Thomas, you clearly stated that you came from a different world, the private equity ones. And I'm quite curious to know what attracted you to join COMPO Expert. And on interest of time to concentrate the questions. Now it's almost 6 years that you are leading COMPO Expert. What has changed and what has been accomplished since there?
That's to the first question, Giuseppe. The thing is, I joined COMPO Expert because I thought this is an extremely positive business model. Fertilization, and then I thought this is really something, you are part of the community which is feeding the world. And I think this is positive because before I worked for chemical companies, yeah, and you always needed to worry about the residues which are hazardous, poisonous, yeah, and this is something completely different. And then when I was with COMPO Expert, it was a little bit the moment when we were sold to a company, to a strategic investor. Normally you leave, yeah, as a private equity CEO. But for me, I was infected, yeah, because I liked this business so much and the people I was working with, and this was really thrilling for me, yeah. And what I'm seeing now is this was the right decision in retrospective. And what you can say, what we have together achieved in COMPO Expert, we have given COMPO Expert first a new face. We are now a forward-looking company. And we are not always saying, but 20 years ago we have done this and this has not functioned. This is not a subject for us anymore. We are now having made our strategy for 2025. And today we are actually working for the next 10 years because we had a very nice decision or discussion. People told me, Thomas, maybe in 5 years we will go into retirement. Yeah? Now we need to put the things in place which are good for the next generation. And this is what you can expect from COMPO Expert. This is a company which will never rest, and we will continue the trajectory we have started.
Thanks, Thomas. And considering also your comment on the pipeline and the new plant biostimulant that you are in process to launch, do we need to expect that the focus, it will be shifted from fertilizer to a more broader focused company?
Yeah, this is interesting, Giuseppe, because COMPO Expert is known as a company. Actually, when I started, 2/3 of our business came from granular NPK. Today, 1/3 of our business comes from granular NPK, and 2/3 of the business is coming from fertigation and foliar products. It's coming from biostimulants, yeah. And I've told you we are a 500 million euro company now, and if you want to make some maths, you can maybe assume that between 12.5 and 15% are in biostimulants. So this is something where we want to grow even faster, and this is why our new products in the development pipeline are really focusing on this field. Oops. We will never be as good as Valagro because you were much, much faster, Giuseppe, yeah? But we want to be a very fast follower. This is like in sport, yeah? So we want to come closer.
Yeah, happy to work together. Roger, back to you.
Okay.
Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, pleasure, Giuseppe.
Thank you so much, Giuseppe. So, Thomas, one thing I wanted to compliment you, because this momentum you're talking about is more a comment than a question. If you heard in the morning discussion from Mosaic and OCP and some others, you almost confirm the same thing, that everyone is looking for integrated approach with the biosolutions in their fertilizer or macronutrient program, which is very heartening. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is it the correct statement?
This is a correct statement, and actually this is also something we will pursue. Yeah?
Thank you so much, Thomas. Okay, on that note, I want to go to Carlos because Carlos is another very good example of a successful CEO. He got his experience working in different companies, and then he started his own business in 2009, and then he was master of his own destiny, and after that he's working with the investor group, and he continued to be the CEO, as Thomas was saying, which sometimes may not happen. So this is interesting story to learn from Carlos, that how is he still so much loved by his investors, and how is he getting all the success?
Okay, thank you very much, Roger. Especially also for choosing Valencia. It's a land of farmers, of innovation. It's a pleasure that you have chosen this beautiful city to join all of you in the Congress. So, talking a little bit about me, I'm a Valencian guy. I was born here in the city. I was the founder of IDAI Nature by 2009, and since 2018 I joined the group Rovensa. I'm taking care within the Rovensa group of the biocontrol division. I've been working in biocontrol for more than 20 years, and I have different postgrad courses in different areas also. So one of the main strengths of the company, of IDAI Nature, is we have been able to create a company aligned in values, in principles. We have created our own culture, and I think this is one of the key driver of the success of our company. So it's the key of the business success is knowing how to build a great team for great persons, especially aligned in principles and values. So we have received different awards. Okay, very proud that we were chosen by the former President of the United States, Barack Obama, as an example of innovation in agriculture in Spain. Also, we were chosen the best small company in Spain by 2016. And also last year, our company was chosen as the most sustainable company by European Commission. So it's a pleasure. Also, on behalf of my team, we are very proud because we have our focus, all our efforts in being sustainable. It's part of our DNA. It's part of the idea of our business. As I talked before about the principles, it's not only related to money, it's related to business. It's also to create business create money, but always align it with your idea, with your values, and with your vision of the life. So as I told you before, we became part of Rovensa, IDAI Network became part of Rovensa by May 2018, and we have changed different things. We have grown the company, and this is part of the success of IDAI Network on my end. I think that at that moment I thought that as to be alone, we created a good company with people, good talent. We retain our talent, but I thought in that moment that it was the moment to get far, to create the worldwide biosolutions leader, and that's why we chosen the Rovensa group, because they brought to us some synergies in terms of R&D, some synergies in terms of channel, and also plus the private equity strength that we have. We are in a leader project now, very active in M&A, so we are very, very proud of having these partners on us, and they are bringing us the opportunity to lead the change of agriculture worldwide. So, regarding some innovative achievements that we have done, we are very proud also that last year we launched our vital biodynamic specific line focused on biodynamic agriculture. We think this will be the future, maybe in some years. So we started registering our products and developing this line. It's a completely different line, just focused on biodynamic, because as I told you before, we think we need to be always different. It's part of our DNA to remain always different, and then you will remain always irreplaceable. So this is one part of the success of IDAI Network also. Another achievement that we have done in these years is the integration of different companies, and we are very proud of having on board the AgriChem guys, the Agrotecnología guys, also Valagro, Ecoproyectos, different companies within my leg, within Rovensa Group in biocontrol, and each of them are quite different. It's not easy to bring into your group different companies with different values, and this was challenging for us to handle this situation, because all of them have different facilities, different people, different values, and it was challenging, but at the end, after these years, we're very proud that we are all of us working as a group and as sister companies and leading the change of agriculture. And thanks to these synergies, we were able to capture many synergies, not only in terms of portfolio, but also in terms of R&D, in channel, and we are accelerating our growth and our presence worldwide. Then another innovative achievement that we did is to create one building aligned with our values. It was very important for us to have a building that could represent our principles, our values, and that's why we decided to build 3 years ago with a specific company our building. This was certified as a passive house. This is because it was awarded as the most sustainable building by 2018. Then, another of the milestones that you will see tomorrow also is that we will present tomorrow in our facilities the first interactive showroom in the metaverse. So you will see your avatars in our building, preparing and interacting with other people, with other avatars worldwide inside our facilities. You will be able, with your avatar, to pick some things in the building. It's quite disruptive. It's a disruptive innovation that we are showing tomorrow to all your visitors that will be joining the visit. And all of you are invited, of course, to visit tomorrow morning our facilities, quite near here, almost 15 kilometers from here, so it's not so far. So some tips for having success in business. On my end, I think the first tip is go big or go home. this is clear, because sometimes when you are having success, you have some company only thinking of you. Maybe you are having success because you have enough for you, for your life, for your family. But if you want to create history, to create value, to change the world, to be an example of the change of the world that you want to see in the world, probably you need to do more, and you need to be the best version of you, and you do your best always. So for me, thinking big is always part of the success of the company. Even when I started in my small garage of 40 square meters, for me it was clear that we will arrive, we will achieve our goal of change the agriculture worldwide, and to create a stable company and a stable platform with a good value proposition to scale it worldwide and to have success in many countries. My second tip for having success is be focus, concentrate all your efforts and capabilities in your main purpose. It's very clear. We are experts in plant extract. This is our main strength, our main capability, and that's why we are acquiring other companies that brings to us other synergies, other strengths where we are very interested. That's why the reason why we acquired Enrico Riquelme and Agrotecnología. For me, it's a pleasure having on board with us, probably one of the best scientific microorganisms worldwide. It's a pleasure that having us on board. This is one example that focusing always on your main purpose and bringing talent and value to your idea, you will create value and you will grow for sure. So for me, it's clear. You need to define your massive transformation purpose. This is in Silicon Valley. It's very easy to find this kind of concept, but here not yet. In Europe, maybe it's not. We are still with the mission and vision, but for sure we need to define our massive transformation purpose as a company. And for us, it's very clear is that we need to leave a better world for next generations, and all our efforts will be oriented towards this idea, and all our efforts, or all the people, or the team, are very aligned and very committed with this idea. And last but not least, for me it's clear to become inspirational and aspirational. For me, we achieve the most important thing in terms of leadership is to be aspirational to work and being inspirational for other companies and stakeholders in the sector. It's key. When you have success, really, is when you become inspirational, it's having success in your life, as a company level also, and being aspirational to other talent, to join your project. So that's why I want to invite all of you, all the talent that is here today, to be interested in some change, to visit our company, visit our website, visiting us, because we are in a growing project, very interested in technologies and patents worldwide, and to join more value to our group and achieve our goal. Our goal is to be a 1 billion revenues company by 2025. So this is our commitment with our private equity, and we will achieve it for sure with my team and with the effort for all the group that we are in Luensa. Okay, thank you very much. This is everything from my end.
Thanks so much, Carlos. This is exactly what I wanted everyone to see, that what you have achieved and how it can inspire a lot of people. One thing you must have seen, there are some very consistent take-home messages. So as I promised, when we launched this BioAg World Congress for Valencia, we are going to publish these guiding principles given by our leaders so that it can be shared with everyone, because these are real-life examples. This is not coming from a book. This is what they have achieved. So we are going to compile it and share with all of you. On that note, Giuseppe, you have any questions for Carlos?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks, Carlos, for sharing your experience. A lot are shared. I can sign together with you that are very worked also in my case. And I will miss tomorrow visit to your facilities. Maybe we can have other
Send your avatar.
opportunity.
You can send your avatar if you want.
Okay, I will make an attempt. I was interested on your tagline, born naturally. What does it mean for a business perspective, Carlos?
From a business perspective, this is the tagline that we are using probably since we launched our company, is that we have always been working with the natural products, plant extract microorganisms, never with the chemical products. So this is, we have the mindset and the culture that we have created is completely different to other companies in the sector, maybe in the conventional companies. And this is a key driver for the success of the company, because all the people that are working with us currently and the people that we are joining our project is people that is concerned about the same principles, sharing the same values. And that's why when you are aligned in values, when you are aligned in principles, it's very easy to make business and you grow almost by yourself, because then business is in the second phase. It's not the most important thing. And for me, this was part of the success of our and the history of IDAI Nature.
You just talk about acquisition you made, and of course, I can understand that the rationale are sites, critical mass, but there is anything more that you would like to add in terms of rationale behind the last acquisition you have done, like Agrichem Bio and Agrotecnología?
Yes, for sure. The acquisition of Agrichem Bio brought to us more than 20 different distribution agreements of bio products. So it was very interesting for us because we have the network, we have the footprint, we have the capabilities in terms of R&D, but we needed some registrations, and now, thanks to the acquisition of Agrichem Bio, we were able to offer our distributors, the distributors that relied on us when we were starting, more products. Well, now we are more attractive for the distribution channel, and brought to us also the possibility to complete our portfolio and to make cross-selling, for instance, on other possibilities that at the beginning we couldn't. Then the rationale behind the acquisition of Agrotecnología, I mentioned before a little bit, is one of the person probably, for me at least, is one of the top 3 scientific worldwide in more famous in biocontrol is Enrico Riquelme. He's a friend of mine. I admire him a lot. He's here in the audience. And for me, it was a pleasure because our main strength was in IDAI Nature was our network, our marketing team, our sales capabilities. But we had a gap in terms of R&D, in terms of registrations. And thanks to the acquisition of Agrotecnología, they brought to us first of all, the presence of Enrique with us, for me, is a pleasure because we are acquiring talent. We are not acquiring companies only. We are not interested in companies because of the business only. We need talent, we have money, but we don't have enough talent for the growth that we need. So it's what we are looking for, talent, and Enrique brought to us the possibility to increase our R&D capabilities and, of course, to support us with the microorganisms, how to mix plant extract with microorganisms, to create new products, develop new products, and this kind of capabilities is helping us a lot in different countries, not only here in Spain.
Thanks a lot, Carlos. Back to you, Roger.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Giuseppe. In view of the time, I will move on to Alejandro. Of course, he's going to share with us his wisdom, his experience, but also I'm curious, Alejandro, with your Mavi project, it's very aspirational and inspirational, just like as I heard from Carlos. So can you please share a little bit your vision as well?
Yes, I will do that. So thank you, Roger. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's 8 p.m., so nobody expects to be here at that time. So thank you for being here. First of all, I'm not the CEO of Kimitec. I'm the co-CEO and one of the co-founders. and my position in the company is more related for the commercial and the operational, and Felix is the CEO, is more involved in the strategic of the company and the new business development. So for other reasons, he's not able to stay here with everybody. First to start, I would like to start saying that go back like 10, 15 years ago. So remember that what agriculture sector suffers a revolution. So nobody expect this structural change in the way of doing things in agriculture. And all of that we are here today, we didn't expect this revolution at that time. So for us, for example, was something that it was punctual, but it's not like this. So to lead a company in the biosolutions sectors for us is something like leading like a mutant for many reasons, because it's changing every day, so it's full of opportunities, new changes in every region, in every country. It's not a niche anymore. So our sectors become a strategic sector for the industry. And I think all that we are here agree that this is the era of the biotechnological companies that all are sitting here. So I want to put this context first, because I think this is important, and we make a lot of discussions during these last 2 days about it. So Kimitec, we are a 15 years company. We were established in 2007, and we have a clear vision at that time. We believe in a different way of producing food, but doing in a natural way by using natural components instead of the chemicals. So I want to try to share with you, since the beginning of the company till today, the main challenge that we face on this trip. And I want to explain you how we face it. First of all, I remember in 2010, our main challenge, our main objective was, okay, we need to do products, but with the same efficacy and the chemicals. So it's not just only to be a natural solutions, so we need to reach this. So this was our first goal, and at that time, we need to build the company with that. I mean, we work for cooperations with different research centers. We have to build our own team. We have to build the strategy looking that. Because for us, this is one of the factors that they were crucial for the biocontrol solutions. But what happened next? 2 years later, 2014, when we believed that we really achieved this goal, we didn't take into account other things that they are so important or more than the efficacy. At that time, 2014, I remember we gained our first project under the Horizon 2020 for the research of biopesticides. So there is 3 main challenges, such as cost of goods, because before we didn't consider in our development the cost of goods, which is really crucial and essential for the grower. So we have to develop solutions that have price competitive, otherwise this is not going to work. Scalability. This is really important. We have a lot of connections with university, research center, with excellent products. When you want to scale it up, you fail. So we have to be sure that all the products that we develop have to be passed to the industrial line. So that we learned this a lot during this project. And the third part was the registrability, because we have to make sure that all the products and all the components that we are using will be registrable in any country of the world. So during these years and during the Blaster projects, this Horizon 2020, we learned about these 3 main things, and we put into our system and our, let's say, lean research process from the beginning of the concept of the product. But one more. You mentioned before, Royal, 2017, as a company, we have a problem of productivity. There is a lot of demand of this biocontrol solution biopesticides mainly, and we didn't have the capability of making all this research. Maybe we're a small team, we have a small lab with a limited resources, so at that time we realized that we need to create what now is our MABI Innovation Center. So we invest more than 20 million euros. We create what is now the biggest R&D center in Europe of natural components, and we start hiring people coming even from other sectors and applying different technologies. So we base our strategy in looking for natural sources. I mean, not only plants, we are looking for plants with microorganisms, microalgae, byproducts, I mean, everything that is natural, and applying different biotechnological process in order to transform into the active natural molecules, right? Just to give you some numbers, we have right now more than 80 researchers in the MABI Innovation Center. So that means more than 25% of our employees. So this is quite a lot. And with this problem of productivity, now we are able to do around 50 different projects with biosolutions, including biopesticide, biostimulant, pre and probiotics, seed treatment, etc. Per year. So this is quite a lot. But what happens a couple of years ago? So it's the famous Green Deal, Farm to Fork. I call it another tsunami. It's a big tsunami for the agriculture industry. And Carlos? It's like this, so it's unbelievable. We need to reduce 50% of the use of chemical pesticides in 10 years. How are we going to do that? So once again, we need to change the way of thinking, and we need to adapt to this need. So that's why we create what is LINA. So we make a presentation a few hours ago here. LINA is our artificial intelligence platform. Why? Two main focus on that, two main challenge. We still need to produce more. I mean, in order to bring to the market new solutions, we need to speed up the process. And secondly, the Green Deal is not only talking about agriculture, it's also focused in animal, agriculture, livestock, agro-industry. So with LINA also, our company will jump in other sectors, and we will be applying the same technology that we have and the knowledge of natural components for the applications in agriculture and human health also. So remember that our vision was believe in a different way of producing food, and food is not only fruit and vegetables, that includes also animal, fish, and so on. But we are sure that next year we will have new challenges. I mean, this is not going to stop. This sector is changing every day, and there is a lot of key factors to success. And I'm sure we will need also to rebuild the team and to make a different strategy in the coming years for the adaptation to the context. So I'm not here to give you some tips. I'm just here to share with you our experience and what we are doing every day in Kimitec. First of all, I think it's really important to understand the context, understand the situation, understand the opportunities, and understand the gaps, because every day is changing. And when I'm saying that, it's not only locally, we have to think globally. I'm not going to make a company presentation. We have activity in more than 90 different countries, so we have information for all the world, and we have to be understanding what is happening in everywhere. And of course, we need to adapt to this context. And the adaptation means team, adaptation means equipment, technology, strategy, in the commercial, R&D, and so on. And we need to be very fast on that. Otherwise, we are not going to be a success. This is really important in Kimitec, is the continuous and deep training. So we are all the time looking for new things and studying in detail and how we can apply connecting points, what is happening in other industry, how can I take from the pharma industry, from the food industry. We are doing that constantly in our process. Also, you mentioned before the resilience. This is really, really important. I mean, you don't have to give up. You are going to fail. We know that. And fail again and again and again. But we need to give up and keep on going and to have a big resilience. Otherwise, we will be frustrated, and you don't have to stop your dream or your passion in the company. It's really important that, for sure, continuous learning of what we are doing, and this is a continuous improvement in our process. So all the process in Kimitec changed from one month to another, but from 1 year to another. So we're implementing new things that is happening and what we're learning in terms of the research and in terms of any other, let's say, aspect in the company. And we also mentioned that the team, I've been in Kimitec since the beginning, and I can promise you that for me, okay, apart of all that challenge that we explained before, one of the most important values in Kimitec is the people. And our people makes the company growth. And this is, sometimes it's difficult to find the correct people and involve them in the concept or philosophy and the culture or the vision of the company. But this is really, really important. And in Kimitec, for me, is one of the success. And just to end, I want to share my view of the next goals, I mean, the future of this sector. Because we've been talking a lot about this, the growth, double the numbers, and so on. But based on our vision and our experience, for us, the key point for the success of this is the grower economic sustainability, the grower and the farmer profitability. So if the farmer have not profit, and you mentioned also Carlos and Antonio before, this is not going to be success. That's for sure. And to do that, I think all that we're sitting in this table and there in the audience, we have to be, I mean, we have to eliminate all the snake oils, the famous snake oils that, I mean, you find everywhere. And this having a lot of, I mean, not positive things, let's say, in a political way. So we have to bring products that bring high efficacy to the growers, and he can grow better, healthier, and more, and in a sustainable way. This is really important. Other thing, the cost of goods. We mentioned before, if I'm bringing to the market one product and this is 10 times more expensive, I'm sure we're not going to sell anything. So we have to be sure that the product is a price affordable and is price competitive for the grower. Another important point that I think we are suffering every day is the registrations. So industry is changing very, very, very fast, but still we have some, I mean, stuck with the registration processes. So it not depends on us, it depends on the authorities, but the registration have to change if we want to be success. Imagine, we mentioned glyphosate before. Imagine that we have a product with the same efficacy of the glyphosate, with the same price, and I can register it in 1 year. What is going to happen? Glyphosate is going to die for sure, because we have an alternative, right? So for us, it is really important to have these three main factors into consideration when we develop and offer the products to the market. And the last one is what we call 360 open innovation. I mean, we cannot do that alone. In Mavi and Kimitec, we have a lot of relations on the partnerships with universities, with research centers, with small startup companies, with multinational companies, local company, fertilizers, biostimulant. So we have to bring all this technology to the world, to the grower. So this kind of connection and partnership for us is really important. And Mavi is, I can define like a platform of technology for the use of all the industry. So basically this is what I want to share with you. And now if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. So, Giuseppe, you may have to leave now because you are a babysitter at home today as well. So, I have...
Yeah, very sorry.
So, do you have any questions for the remaining three CEOs, Alejandro, Arturo, and Pedro, or comments before you leave?
Well, of course, I would like to interact with them, but I will let to you and the rest of the people to make a question to our friends. Really, thanks for giving me the opportunity to stay there with you, and all the best to everyone.
Thank you so
all.
much.
Thank you, Giuseppe.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Thanks for coming. And have a nice evening, Giuseppe.
You too. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye. So on that note, I know that everyone is thirsty. So I'm going to ask my friend Arturo and Pedro to keep it brief, to the point, give them guiding principles, and then share more at the gala dinner table. Arturo.
Thank you. Thank you, Roger. And congratulations for the Congress. I remember last year when you called me and you said you must be ambassador, sponsor here, and said, wow, Roger, it's a lot of money. Eh? But it was a success. Thank you very much for thinking of me, of us. Well, let me just start. I will keep it brief. Probelte is not a new company. It's a 50-year-old company that started to look at the microbials 20 years ago because the founder was a visionary, and he thought that the crop protection industry was going to have a really hard time in 10 years' time. So I was lucky because when I joined the company, 1.5 years, more or less, I found a lot of knowledge that was not on the market, okay? 20 years ago, they started with biofertilizers and biocontrol. So they were really, really ahead of the time. Sometimes when you are ahead of your time, you lose. And that's what happened. They launched the product. At the beginning, it was very successful. But after that, they couldn't keep it in the market. Now what I'm doing actually is, because I'm not from the industry, I'm bringing breeding, which is another term that comes from agriculture, breeding a lot of different type of competencies from other industry. My last experience was in the human health business, and we are bringing a lot of this preventive palliative approximation, because in Probelte we think that chemicals will stay. I think we are investing all the money in biologicals, but I think that the solutions combines nutritional, biostimulants, and biocontrol and chemicals. And that's something that maybe if Steve Jobs had thought about that, he could be alive, no? Because he thought that everything was natural. No, I think a chemical is an important thing of the business too. I'm a PhD in physics, in computational physics, and solid-state physics has nothing to do with agriculture. And I've been in the consultancy, working with private equity and founding technology startups, nothing to do with this. Well, this is my experience. I will go through it because it's not important. What we are doing in Probelte is just combining everything. That's one of the things that I think is interesting about the company, because it has a lot of different areas of knowledge, not just one. The company is knowledgeable about almost all the parts of what we consider solution, real solution, and the only thing that was missing for me was technology. Technology lowers the complexity of the solutions, and that's what has happened in other industries. I think that's one of the things that we have to learn in this industry, okay? But more than that, we should use tools that help us to expand a new technology or a new approach of doing business. And I have to tell you that when I was in the IT industry, we used this curve that actually was created within the agriculture industry, not in the IT. This is the curve that was analyzed when the Iowa State University was looking at the spread of the GMO seed technology in the United States. So many of the technologies that have been used in other industry were actually born within the agriculture industry. And many of the strategies were already there. I think that's the things that we have to take again and look at other industries, how they have done it, and then we will be successful in implementing a new way of doing the business, no? or the policies. Well, my humble advice as a CEO, all the industries are disrupted by digital, but digital doesn't mean to have a SAP or website, or it has to do to ingrain the digital in how you manage the business, on how you make easier to use the solution. You have to think about a car. A car has huge amounts of technology, huge amounts of buttons, but at the end, they manage to make it easier. I think that's the real thing. No? When you try to promote biocontrol and you explain to the farmer that is a little bit inconsistent, a little bit the conditions, I mean, it's too complicated just to put all that information into a label. You have to develop strategies, not just apps, but strategies in order to make this more easy to the final user, and also the prescriptors, okay? Be agile. I think that one of the things that I'm fighting with some of the people that I'm bringing from the industry is that they want to set up a perfect solution, and that takes a lot of time. I think that in order to understand the market, you have to develop a closed solution, not quick and dirty, a good one, and then try it and fail fast, and then you learn from it. And at the end is, look at what happens to other industries. I mean, look at the human health industry, look at the bank sector. I think there is a lot of good ideas there, and many are coming from the agriculture industry. As I told you, I mean, the adoption curve is something that was developed within this industry. And don't think about product. Product is something very easy to copy, and that happens in all the industries. Singularize your product with data and services around it. Servitize your product. That's the key thing that I've seen in all the industries that I've been. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arturo. You kept it really sharp and brief and beautiful advice. Now let us go to our last guide and advisor, Pedro. And after that, I will request our own Pam Maron to come and do the vote of thanks on behalf of all of us. And then we go and have a party, okay? So, Pedro.
Thank you, Roger. Good afternoon, everybody, all the tenders here and the streamer. Thank you for all the sponsors. And of course, thank you, Roger, to be possible this Congress here in Valencia, to be together all the sector, investors, company, researchers, to put new collaborations or new possibilities. I think the most important thing that I want to share with you, this is the last conference in the panel. I think it's important for all of you. What can I say? Something new. I remember one friend that talked with the biostimulants with a sentence to introduce or sell it. They talk about when they sell biostimulant, sometimes they use spray and pry. Now we are in the biocontrol sector, and in my own words, I feel sometimes like spray and cry. But cry not only, I cry with satisfaction, cry with joy, and cry when you see the wonderful and spectacular results. In the dinner that with Roger, they talk about this panel CEO panel table to talk about our experience. I want to put my experience in my origin, 25 years working with the company, but I put these boats when the communication team showed to me. I remember exactly the same when I started in the work, working in the farmer with my father, with my brother, and I think it's important to put it because many times thinking in biotechnology, thinking in innovation, thinking in big data, we forget the math under the boots, and we are working for the health, and we are working with the growers near to him. I put this picture too because the business, we think it's the value of the money, and in my vision, there are another profitable values in the business. There are environment, there are human, there are healthy crops, and there are another value, in my opinion, more profitable. Being the first, it's better than being the best. 20 years ago, Seipasa had the vision to anticipate the change that had transformed agriculture. We decided to open a new concept based on research and developing the treatment with botanicals and microbials. Sailing against the wind is part of the journey, and Seipasa had the vision to anticipate the change, but our innovation has not always been understood and accepted for the market. If today organic and bioorganic agriculture is a reality, it's that thanks to determination, efforts, investments, and companies like us. At Seipasa, it was clear to us that agriculture needs a chance, an integral transformation through biotechnology. We knew that in order to be different, we could not do the same as everyone else. We knew that farmers need new tools in the fight against pests and diseases, and we have put all the effort to develop them and put them in their hands. Getting here after 25 years has been an exciting experience. I would never have achieved without the help of my team. The talent, effort, and experience of my team have been key in this journey over 25 years. But what I value most is in the trust they have believed without limits in my idea and my concept in agriculture, and have helped me to develop it. Thank you for everybody.
Thank you so much. I wanted to have a little bit detailed wrap-up, but I think we are out of time. Thanks for all your patience. I have not seen too many well-attended conferences at this time of the day. So thank you so much for that. Pam, are you ready to do the vote of thanks for us? Pam was making a post on...
Is it on? Yeah. Such great wisdom from the CEOs. I had to be posting it on LinkedIn and Twitter and got lots of feedback. So, so true, all the things that they talked about. And suffice to say, the speed of change is like nothing we've seen before. And agriculture, as we all heard this week, has to change to reduce its footprint on the world. And we're right at the cusp, and as we've heard, the tipping point, the crossing the chasm, all those words, and what an exciting conference. Roger, You pulled it off. I would have to say that a couple years ago when you told me you were going to start a conference, I was, you know me, I was skeptical, like, you need another conference? We don't need another conference. There's so many of these conferences. But I would have to say, you did it. This was quite the conference, and yeah. I would have to thank the team, Eva Romero, and the team that is behind the scenes. It's not easy to pull off a conference this large, but what a beautiful venue. And thank you all for your participation. It's been amazing. I'm not going to talk anymore because you all want to get to dinner and enjoy the festivities. But thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you next year in Rio.
Thank you, everyone. Let's go and have party, and thank you to all the CEOs for all the wisdom. And we will keep doing this more and more. Thank you.